Hello, good evening. Welcome to North West Tonight, Monday evening. I'm Roger Johnson. Thank you for watching. Our top story. Attacks on police officers reach huge new proportions, with some saying they're the victim of violence on a daily basis.
It's an epidemic affecting the country, and as to why it's happening, I'm afraid I can't answer.
There are now more reports of more than 60 assaults on officers every week in the North West. Also tonight, schools are closed and homes are flooded after a major water main bursts in Rochdale. Sell up and save our shrimps as fears grow for another of our football clubs. Morecambe fans come together. More dates here for Peter Kay's record-breaking tour, including a trip for Bolton's finest to the Isle of Man.
And it was a beautiful start to the day on the Isle of Man. Thanks, Charlie, for sending this photograph in. It's here where we're least likely to see significant snowfall. Elsewhere, we've got warnings in force. So join me at the end of the programme. I'll give you all the details.
Figures obtained by the BBC show that attacks on police officers across the North West are rising, with an average of 64 officers being assaulted every week. A BBC North West investigation has been told that incidents are an epidemic, with officers describing how they've been punched, kicked, headbutted and spat at while simply doing their jobs. Dan O'Donoghue's report includes some bits that you may find upsetting.
Arriving at a hotel in rural Cumbria, PC's Ruth Coates and Michael Doyle believe they're on a routine call-out.
Hiya.
Hi there, my name is obviously a call.
We were told that there was a male who was acting very strangely at the hotel and he'd smashed a window. So we were just attending a very normal job of a criminal damage. I got an inkling that there was something not quite right about the man.
Hiya.
The man is Mustafa Osman, and staff want him to leave.
He's a threat to every one of us here. Yeah.
Osman becomes hostile as the officers approach.
No, listen to me. Don't touch me. No, it's 20 past midnight. You're under arrest on suspicion. Pack it in.
Pack it in! As soon as I've grabbed his left arm, I felt the most excruciating pain. And then I realised that he was like savagely biting through my right arm.
PC Doyle breaks his partner free, but opens himself up to attack. Despite being tasered 3 times and having a can of pepper spray unloaded in his face, Osman stays firmly clamped to PC Doyle.
The members of staff, luckily, were helping us, and it took 5 of us to manage to get him to restrain him. A member of staff phoned the police and he relayed what had happened. And I remember the call handler saying, just tell them to hold on, it'll be 22 minutes, backup's 22 minutes. I've still got the scar today to remind me of that every day. You know, that does have an impact on you.
The attack on PC's Coates and Doyle is one of more than 11,000 reported by officers in our region over the last 3.5 years. In places like Cheshire, assaults are up 27%, and in Cumbria, the figure is 22%, both more than double the increase seen nationally. And in the riots which followed this summer's fatal Southport knife attack, officers suffered cuts, bruises and broken bones, with almost 100 reporting injuries.
These are sons and daughters, mothers and fathers who come to work to do the best job that they possibly can. They're getting spat at, they're getting blood spat in their face, they're getting kicked, they're getting headbutted, they're getting punched. It's an epidemic affecting the country, and as to why it's happening, I'm afraid I can't answer.
The government say attacks on emergency service workers can carry up to 2 years in prison. Osman, who was staying in the hotel while his asylum application was processed, was jailed for 4.5 years. But PC Coates says the issue runs deeper than any one attack.
I think that people don't have a respect that they did for the police. And sadly, I think people, you know, are more violent for whatever reason. People seem to be more aggressive or take to an aggressive stance. And I would like to say that, you know, I don't think members of the public help. I think there's a lot of people there that film what happens, but they don't step in to help you.
The attack might be over, but it's never forgotten. Dan O'Donoghue, BBC North West Tonight.
Well, Brian Booth is the acting Deputy National Chair of the Police Federation, which of course represents officers. I asked him why he thinks assaults on police officers have gone up.
I think there's an element of they're not being dealt with properly at court, so the deterrent isn't there. The consequence of attacking constables isn't there. And if they get dealt with at court properly and get given just sentences, then that would mean there will be that element of, shall I attack this officer? I might not. It's the deterrent we are trying to get to.
Do you think the police officers have the tools that they need to protect themselves? And by that, I'm thinking of a female police officer who may be small in stature, trying to tackle a man who's considerably bigger, vastly stronger, and bravely does her job, but is always on is on the back foot effectively, physically.
Physically they are, but mentally they're probably well ahead of the individual. And they are chosen for their particular skills in fighting individuals or dealing with harmful situations. And the Federation would absolutely advocate any technology that would assist to actually give us the upper hand. Superior weaponry, superior tactics and superior numbers are probably key to it all.
Talk about weaponry. What do you mean by superior weaponry?
Well, there's lots of new technology coming onto the market and currently being tested. So we've seen recently a glove which very much you put pressure on with the glove and it gives an electric charge, a bit like a taser, but you're able to control the offender a bit better and it's not looking like a taser. That kind of technology would be able to assist officers a lot better. And
just a final thought, we hear the officer in the report talk about the fact the public are very good at filming it on their phones but don't often get involved to help. I suppose if you're a member of the public, it's a difficult situation to be in, but there's actually quite a clear guidance here, isn't there?
Yes, this is where the public can really support us and come to our assistance. It is actually an offence that's often forgotten about failing to come to the assistance of a constable. Now, opening your phone up and filming is not assisting a constable. Going there, assisting, perhaps trying to restrain the violent individual, that's assisting a constable. But the officer will give you some direction at the scene.
Brian Booth from the Police Federation, thank you very much indeed for talking to us.
Thank you.
So 64 officers a week, almost 10 a day in the North West assaulted doing their jobs. Be interested to hear your thoughts. nwt@bbc.co.uk if you have any observations on email, and we may read some of them out either at the end of the programme or perhaps tomorrow evening. Now, there's anger in Rochdale tonight after houses in the Kirkholt district were flooded after a pipe burst. Some residents say it's happened several times in recent years, and they want the water company, United Utilities, to sort out the problem once and for all. 3 local schools were also closed today, as Phil Cunliffe reports.
It was around 6 o'clock this morning when water started to gush through people's gardens on Gerrard Street in Rochdale. United Utilities said it was because of a burst water main. But with drains unable to cope with the deluge, part of the road was soon several feet deep in water and lapping at the doors of houses.
Woke up, looked out the window and we could see it was just everywhere. The water, everywhere, pumping out from here.
What's the damage inside your house then?
Carpets, living room, and then my car.
With water levels already above the wheels of her car, Shani had no option but to abandon her vehicle.
You can see it there.
It's all wet, isn't it? It's all damp.
All in the, all on the chair.
Can you get the damage repaired?
Well, hopefully. United Utilities have said they're going to send somebody out to check the damage and see, but I think she said it's more likely going to be a write-off because of the water damage.
Around a dozen properties were affected. The people living in this house rang United Utilities around 7, but say it was another 3 hours before they arrived on site. By then, all of the downstairs was under several inches of water.
We were flooded from front and back. We tried to barricade the water, but still more because the water passed the height of the barricade we put, and the water was we just came in the house.
Oh, here, you can see this. Water was up to here.
Tawira's house was also flooded 5 years ago in similar circumstances.
And the same problem that caused the last problem is the same problem, which means it was not rectified.
Well, burst water pipes do happen from time to time, especially when the weather gets a little cooler. But residents here on Gerrard Street are unhappy that it keeps happening again and again here. In a statement, United Utilities said it would like to apologise to those customers impacted, but it didn't respond to our question about why the street keeps flooding. Engineers are working hard to fix the broken pipes, but in the meantime, Janet is another who's left counting the cost.
The garage is damaged, the living room's damaged, the porch is damaged, all my carpets are damaged. This is 5 times it's happened now, and the last time was 5 years ago. There's no words can explain it, is there really? It keeps happening and happening.
Phil Cunliffe, BBC North West Tonight, Rochdale.
Now, the Crown Prosecution Service says that it is still considering material over a disturbance at Manchester Airport in July, in which 2 police officers were allegedly attacked. Reform UK today confirmed that it is pressing ahead with plans to bring a private prosecution against 2 men who were accused of assault. The party leader, Nigel Farage, says they'll make a legal application after hearing nothing back from the CPS about the case. A sports coach at a school in Wirral for youngsters with special educational needs has been jailed for bullying pupils. Elliot Miller was sentenced to 12 weeks in prison after pleading guilty to assaulting 3 pupils at Life Wirral. Footage of him mistreating students was filmed by an undercover reporter for BBC Panorama. More than 130 workers at the Royal Liverpool Hospital have started a 2-week strike over COVID bonus payments. The staff, including porters and cleaners who worked for a contractor during the pandemic, were employed directly by the hospital from the 1st of April 2023. That was a day after the cut-off for payments of up to £3,000, which were announced by the government earlier this year. A spokesperson for the hospital says it's continuing to work with the trade unions to try to resolve the dispute. Now, a collection of memorabilia belonging to Eric Morecambe is being put up for auction. His children decided to give fans of the legendary comedian the chance to own some of his things after their mother died earlier this year. Now, the collection includes the piano that he practised on. Apparently, he got ready for the famous Andre Previn programme on this piano. Joke books as well, and telegrams from the late Prince Philip. Now, we often do reports on this programme about the numbers of wild animals being surveyed by scientists, either because they're under threat or maybe populations are booming. But how do you actually go about counting them? How, for example, can you tell how many seals are in one place when they're often camouflaged by the landscape in which they exist? Well, seals are a particular issue for the Manx Wildlife Trust, with 85% of their territory, the territory that they survey, the territory that they look after, made up by the sea. Ashley Tracy's got this report.
The team at Manx Wildlife Trust are used to getting into the sea around the island to gather data about the species living in our waters.
You know, we want to conserve and in some cases restore the nature in the island. We've got a wonderful island, but we shouldn't be complacent, take it for granted. So our role is absolutely to champion nature.
Today they're checking in on a patch of seagrass in Derby Haven in the south. It's the only marine flowering plant underwater and could be part of the solution to the climate emergency, as it can absorb 10% of carbon from the sea.
People talk about the importance of eelgrass in terms of blue carbon, but it's also really important for our biodiversity, and that's the other thing that we're really keen to understand. And through the sea search divers, we are mapping and also monitoring the species that we're finding there.
Another project gathering crucial information to help with their conservation work is a seal survey that's done on the behalf of man. It's gone high-tech this year with the use of a thermal drone.
As you can imagine, seals are very difficult to see. They're very well camouflaged against the rocks, but the thermal imaging drone makes it super easy to see them, and it minimises our disturbance as well because we fly nice and high. So that's been a huge game changer for us this year, and we're hoping to use it for island-wide seal surveys in the future as well.
With the help of this equipment, 98 seal pups have been recorded on the small islet off the south coast, the highest number since the annual survey began in 2009.
It's positive to see that our grey seal numbers are really increasing around the island, which is why people are seeing them haul up in a lot more places that we hadn't done previously. But our common seals probably aren't doing as well, so it's interesting to kind of follow through with those. But that's something that's been seen in other areas of the UK as well, not just here. So it's really important to see what they're doing. It gives an indication of the health of the overall ecosystem.
It's hoped that continued monitoring can keep marine life on the island safe and protect it for generations to come. Ashley Tracy, BBC North West Tonight, the Isle of Man.
Right, let's move on to sport. Richard is here. Rich, Morecambe fans have been protesting. Their team are bottom of the Football League. They've been up for sale for over 2 years. You were there, weren't you, on Saturday? How? I mean, it's not often we get to Morecambe, but it's important because the fans are worried, aren't they?
Yeah.
Really worried.
Yeah, they really are worried, Roger. Several hundred took part in a protest march at Saturday's home game against Port Vale, and majority shareholder Jason Whittingham says he's agreed terms for a sale. But many fans have lost patience after a turbulent couple of seasons, which have seen the Shrimps face a points deduction, relegation and a transfer embargo. And as I found out, the message from supporters is clear.
We want to save our club. My little boy and my nephew want to support this club in years to come.
We want a tiny little community club, and we need to survive.
What's going on? Owners step forward. Jason Whittingham, get out of our club.
And I get a feeling that I belong.
More angry than our house because it just keeps repeating itself. I've sold it, I'm selling it. Nothing ever comes of it.
This is the start of us ramping it up. If this doesn't move anything, we've got a Shrimps Trust meeting in a couple of weeks. We'll be looking at what we can do next.
There are some very strong feelings on show, as you can see here today. These fans say they are in the dark, increasingly worried about their club, and they want to see something happen, and fast.
For his part, the majority shareholder of Bond Group Investments, which owns Morecambe, Jason Whittingham, he's on the left here, says he's agreed terms to sell the club. He hasn't responded to our request for a comment. He was also owner of Worcester Warriors Rugby Union Club, which went into administration 2 years ago.
Our message today is enough is enough. If these people can buy the club, file the paperwork, get the deal across the line, ready for the January transfer window, so there's some hope of this club staying in the Football League this season.
The protest continued inside the ground, with signs and black balloons on the terraces, and on the 26th minute, representing the 26 months the club has been up for sale, fans turned their backs to the pitch.
Been waiting for far too long to get the ownership situation resolved.
Yeah, the fans are worried that it may lead to nothing. I know that you can't know that for sure, Graham, but what do you make of those concerns that the fans have?
Well, we share the concerns because it is a possibility, but equally it's a possibility that things will come to fruition and the sale will go through. But in the meantime, Rod McCall, chairman, and I and the rest of the board work hard to maintain the football club, keep it running smoothly.
As for the match itself, Morecambe, facing the League Two leaders Port Vale, fought for every ball and should have scored. Ben Tollett somehow failing to find the net from close range. A draw would have been a good result for the Shrimps, but late on Vale found the only goal of the match through Ethan Chislett to leave Morecambe at the bottom of the Football League.
As you've seen, what is most concerning these Morecambe fans is what is happening or what isn't happening off the pitch, and it's clear that the need to find a new owner and a new direction is increasingly urgent.
The players are full of heart, the fans are full of heart, everyone wants this club to do well. We're a bit of investment and someone that cared about the club, we would do really well.
It's just ridiculous. How many, 26 months now? You know, why? Why is it taking so long? That's all we want, just a few answers.
I've been watching Morecambe off and on for over 60 years.
And what do you make of this situation the club's in now then?
Get rid of the owner.
And with the growing fear of relegation from the Football League, it's a change that for most Morecambe supporters can't come soon enough.
For all your comments about police violence, attacks on the police. We're going to talk about them tomorrow. We've had dozens and dozens and dozens. I've just been reading some of them. We'll take our time, go through them and give you a selection of some of the best. Tomorrow night, that's because the weather is all important tonight, and Kay will be here with a detailed forecast for us in just a moment. But before that, we're going to talk about this guy. We've got a clean sweep of big names from Bolton. If you were watching last week, you'll know we had Paddy McGuinness and Vernon Kay. Tonight, it's Probably the biggest star of them all, let's be fair. Peter Kay sent the Isle of Man into meltdown today. He's announced the extension of his Better Late Than Never Again tour. He announced it in a TV advert last night. And alongside Manchester and Liverpool, some extra dates there. He also included the Royal Hall in Douglas. Let's get more from sometimes mildly entertaining Boltonian. Here's Ian Haslam.
It was the unexpected announcement that's delighted Peter Kay fans.
I like your mum's bungalow. Is that Freddie Mercury?
Yeah, she's obsessed with him. They had it painted for her birthday.
Are you doing any more shows?
Hey, I've no choice. She wants it all now.
Is that a gold toilet?
Oh, aye. You want to see a B-Day.
The record-breaking comedy tour continues.
And it's reached the Isle of Man with shows at Villa Marina's Royal Hall in Douglas on February 20th and 21st, 2026. A spokesperson for the venue, which holds around 1,300 people, says they're beyond excited.
I think that'd be good, to be fair. Like, it's really exciting for someone that big, obviously, to come over.
Garlic bread. Garlic. And bread.
It'll attract other famous people to come onto the island as well. And they'll see Peter Kay's been in the Isle of Man. I should come to the Isle of Man as well.
Just let me staple the vicar.
Just let me staple the vicar.
When they go on sale, it'll be just sold out, so people will be disappointed in it. But I do like. I've had some of his DVDs, so I do like it.
Grandmas always go early at weddings. Sandra, your grandma's going now. It's 10 to 8. She's going.
In a statement released last night, Peter Kay said laughter is more important than ever in these challenging times. Here he is 2 years ago on BBC Radio 2 after announcing his first tour for 12 years.
I'm on the news, the main news. How's that up there? This is ridiculous. On ITV's news with Mary Nightingale and BBC News, I thought it's got to be a slow news day, hasn't it?
And yet, here we are talking about it again, so it must be another slow news day. This is the AO Arena in Manchester, where it all began back in December 2022, since when Peter Kay has performed 100 shows here, just one of the records set during this tour.
The AO Arena is also the first of the new dates on February 7th next year. He'll return again in September 2025 with a show at the M&S Bank Arena in Liverpool on November 21st.
Peter Kay live. Better late than never. Again.
Tickets go on sale this Saturday at 10 a.m. Ian Haslam, BBC North West Tonight.
Those misheard lyrics are so funny, aren't they? Peter, if you're watching, it's not another slow news day. Big news, especially on the Isle of Man. You'll be given a warm welcome there for sure. Right, let's have a look at the weather. Kay's here. You're just moaning that it's cold in the studio because the air conditioning... Listen, I don't want you to catch a cold when you go out of the studio later.
So he's got it at freezing.
So I thought I'd get you down to, you know, what it's like outside. It's cold.
And it's going to get colder.
And snow?
Snow for some.
Go on.
We've got it all going. In fact, we've got a very busy week of weather leading into a very busy weekend of weather. I'll come to that in a minute. First of all, quick look at your photographs from today. Now, this is interesting, isn't it? Because this says Alison Croft sent this picture in of Poynton in Cheshire East. Now, if you do know Poynton, you'll know there's absolutely no sea there whatsoever. So clearly we've had a mix-up. I do know Alison has sent a photograph, but it wasn't that one. Lovely, though, nonetheless. And Nicky Nacky New, Morecambe, Lancashire. This is that photograph from there where we did see some brighter skies. That's really made me chuckle. Thank you for sending those photographs in. I will try tomorrow and get it right with the right name on the right photograph, but you never know. Join me on socials for that chance to find out. Better yet, become a weather watcher and let us know what it's like in your part of the world, where I suspect tomorrow you are going to be sending some snowy pictures. Not for all, but for some. The week's forecast, cold, snow risk, frosty nights, and that snow risk has already begun. So we've got a warning in force to cater for both snow and ice. Lower levels, dusting to maybe 3 to 5 centimetres. Above 200 metres, you'll see more. The highest routes of the Pennines, potentially 15 to 20 centimetres of snow falling. What's going on? We're in the boundary of the cold and the milder air. Where the two meet, that's where that snow's falling. That clears away, and then we're pulling down really cold air as we head right throughout this week. Temperatures through the day, 2 or 3 degrees. It'll feel much colder than that So already you can see we've had some snow falling. I have had some reports in. I think for parts of Cumbria, the Isle of Man, northern parts of Lancashire, less amount of snow. Worst hits further south that you are. Temperature-wise, dropping down to about freezing. So, yeah, tomorrow morning there will be a dusting, especially across more southern parts, and that snow will continue to head southwards. Warnings valid till 10 o'clock in the morning. Where you've had any precipitation overnight, bear in mind the risk of ice. It'll brighten up. We should start to see some spells of sunshine again, especially further north. Highs of 2 to 4 degrees. Given the wind, it will feel more like 0 to -2, so feeling very cold. Skip forward to Wednesday, a hard frost is expected, but relatively dry and bright, decent spells of sunshine. Biggest risk of seeing the odd wintry flurry will be through the Cheshire Gap, so parts of coastal areas. Top temperatures coming in between 1 and 5 degrees. Wrap up, heating on, hot water bottle.
Snow on the Costa del Pointon or not?
Yeah.
Maybe not.
Oh, Alison.
Oh,
it was a lovely
bless.
picture wherever it was.
If you have snow pictures, obviously, nwt@bbc.co.uk. Inevitably, when we get a little dusting, we'll have some nice tinkly music and some pictures, I bet, tomorrow.
Oh, yeah,
night.
we'll do a nice little thing at the end of the programme.
A little winter-scape.
Something.
Even though it's not
Can you build
winter
a
yet. It's
snowman?
not even winter yet, is it?
No, it's still autumn.
Thank you for watching. Whatever you're doing, have a great evening. Good night.
Take care.